Dr. Emmett Emery Sr. You Better Stand Your Watch podcast. Today we're going to talk about leaving a legacy. It's very important that a legacy is left, not just for your kids. You just said leaving a legacy. Someone said, well, I need to leave a legacy for my kids. And usually the man saying, I need to leave a legacy for the kids. Well, it's not just a legacy for the kids. It's a legacy that you leave about yourself. And it's both men and women. Your legacy is a reflection of your values, the mark you leave on the world, and how those who come after you remember you. It's more than just a footnote in history. It is the indelible imprint of your existence, the summation of your actions, and the personal and societal impact you have made. To leave a legacy means to leave the places you go and the people you meet a little better than you found them. That's a positive legacy. Now, there's two types of legacy you can leave. You can leave a negative legacy when your name come up and when bad things pop up and they all automatically associated with you and your legacy. Or you can leave a positive legacy, as what I'm going to discuss today. I might bring up the bad legacy every now and then, just to remind some of you. Many men consider their children to be their greatest legacy, as I stated earlier. And that is fantastic, wonderful, magnificent. However, I believe men also have an innate desire to leave a legacy that touches the broader world around them as well. A lot of the professional athletes, for example, let's take Muhammad Ali as an example. What type of legacy did he leave? He left two different types of legacy. He left a legacy of boxing, and he left a legacy of being a speaker or activist when he refused to go to the Vietnam War, and he decided to lay down his title in his belief. So when we associate Muhammad Ali, a lot of the older individuals associate him with the 10 years he didn't box, coming back winning a championship, and being an activist to the point where he actually changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. I believe men also have an innate desire to leave a legacy that touches a broader world around them as well. I say it again. So there's other things you can do to leave a legacy. What do you want your legacy to be based upon? Do you want your legacy to be based upon the things that you did that made an impact in the community, or the things that you did made an impact in your family? Actually, I desire both. Right now, I have a legacy among my siblings through education and military. And sometimes they bring up the athletic part. I have a legacy through my kids, through military, education, and they really don't remember the athletic part unless they see the awards that's presented that I have out on display with the track and field and the basketball trophies. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know that I was involved in any sort of sports. And I wanted to leave a legacy of positivity, a legacy of patience, a legacy of mentorship, a legacy of approachableness. Those are the type of words I would like to be associated with me when they speak on me or speak about me later in life. I don't want the negativeness, anger, violence, disrespectful, swears a lot, always in the criminal light, in and out of jail. I don't want that sort of legacy. I want a positive legacy. So what type of legacy do you want to leave? Remember, your story is the greatest legacy that you will leave to your friends, family, and others. What is your story? Everyone has a story. You can take a bad experience and turn it into a positive story. I want you to know that. So you can have all sorts of bad stuff happened to you. You could have been doing bad things throughout your 20s and early 30s. And then you get your mid 30s and your 40s, and you can convert that into, okay, I've been delivered from that. I went through that pain and suffering. Those are growing pains. Now I know what not to do. Your legacy begin to change. That past is not going to go away, but that past be looked at now, since the way you phrased it, as you having that support to go forward and succeed from that past. Everyone has a story. It depends on how you want to present that story. But that story turned into a legacy. It is the longest lasting legacy you would leave with your heirs. I would love for my name to go from generation to generation to generation within my family. Now I'm going to leave you with this one as we talk about legacy. I'm not going to bring this part up again. But the legacy that you leave with your kids is a legacy that you present when you're present. That's positive. There's two types of legacies. I told you there's a positive and there's a negative legacy. If you're not present in your kid's life and you had all sorts of accomplishments and other people recognize who you are and say they're not going to take your name further than just there. So the community won't know and society won't know past a certain era. So your name is only mentioned for 10 years. After that, no one knows about it unless it's written in literature. But you didn't have the relationship with your kids or your siblings. Therefore, they don't know who you are. So the legacy that you leave, and you think you're leaving throughout your heirs and your siblings, will die with you. Do you really want to accomplish so much on this earth and do so much? Go through all the pain and sufferings, go through all the negativities, go through all the put downs. And then you have success on the job as you're in a retiring as director of operation or as vice president or president or CEO. Then you have success in sports where you receive a lot of awards and end up going to either the CBA in basketball or the NBA or going to arena football or the NFL or a track and field star or a soccer star. And not good enough to have your records and your name put in history books, but good enough to be successful where it's a legacy throughout your family. But if you don't have that connection, who's going to take it forward? I know some athletes that have parents as professional athletes. You have to be professional basketball players who kids doesn't even communicate with them. You have professional football players who kids doesn't communicate with them. Other athletes, professional, their kids don't communicate with them. So if they don't have statistical numbers to be heard or mentioned throughout the media or history books, then everything that they accomplish dies with them. You have a woman that have 15 different recipes, and each one of the recipes tastes outstanding. It's good. Never let anyone see the recipe. Always do it when no one's around. And when someone's coming around, hide the ingredients. Never written anything down. But the food was so outstanding, no one knew about it. It died with her. And then the daughter come along and try to emulate all the cooking, the many different dishes. And the husband don't want to say, hey, this is bad. He's just going to say, I never had her cooking again. Or the kids, the kids going to come out and say, Mom, your food sucks. But if you leave a legacy, write down the ingredients, write down the dish, show the kids how to cook it. I didn't just say females, your daughter, your son know how to cook too. My son and daughters know how to cook. It's a legacy that you want to leave. Men should leave legacies because it is a great responsibility to choose to leave a positive legacy. Great responsibility. You want to make sure everything is positive with that legacy, not negative. The last thing you want to have is a negative legacy out there. When you mention the name Bonnie and Clyde, you don't think nothing happy. Bonnie and Clyde is always negative. It was something that's negative that I never really agree with. after I enlisted in the Navy. And I still hear people saying that, curse like a sailor. I ain't never did a whole lot of cursing, and I never heard a lot of cursing going on among sailors. You mean talk to them Army guys and them damn Marines talking about cursing like a sailor. Where did that come from anyway? I forgot I'm talking about legacies. Leaving a legacy can be the sum of what our lives have taught us or how we make others feel about themselves. That's right. You can have such an impact on another individual that you can leave a legacy with them on how you treat people, how you treated them, how you develop them, how you train them, how you made them and mold them into the individual that they are. And that's the type of legacy that I wanted to have. Individuals say, hey, I was trained and developed by Dr. Emmet. Hey, Dr. Emmet was my mentor. He taught me so much. Hey, my goals and objectives, I did not know how to do them or what they stood for until Dr. Emmet helped me with those. Those are the type of legacy that I want to leave, in addition to the legacy that I leave with my immediate family and my extended family. It is essential for high achievers. If you're a high achiever, you better leave a legacy. Don't try to hide everything, because you're a high achiever. That means you are very creative. That means that you are very sharp. That means you are very smart. That means you got a lot going on. But also a lot of high achievers think that someone trying to steal information from them, trying to steal the way they do things and trying to duplicate them. So they end up holding on to a lot of that information and they never get past them. And what happens? It dies with them. So especially high achiever, write it down. Write it down. Keep it in a journal. So later in life, if you got an attic and a home with an attic, you got a trunk full of books or journals, when you're done, they can go into that trunk and look at it. And then start saying, hey, Uncle Simone, Uncle Alfred, Uncle Jerome, Uncle Sabu, whoever your uncle is. Because we had to get away from Johnny, so we had to come back to some different uncles. You can say, hey, this is the legacy they left. I didn't know they did that. I didn't know they did this. Because they didn't explain it. They didn't express it. They didn't share it. But then you get to see it in the books, in the writings. Life transition, like the shift from a full-time career to a part-time retirement. That's a good time you can start talking about your life. That's the time you reflect back upon all the years that you worked, all the things that happened in your life transition. And really, I don't think you should wait that long, because old age is not guaranteed. Who knows when God ready to call you? So you should start your legacy from the 20s and then have to see from there. Actually, your legacy starts when you start doing things as a young one. I know it's a bad legacy that's floating around with my siblings. And I'm still trying to find out who started, because I don't think I was a part of it, but they keep saying I was the main character in this legacy that they keep saying. And my nieces keep saying that crap. And my sister go along with it. I'm pretty upset about that. The legacy is that I was such a bad child that at a young age, around 10, 11, 12, that I put my nieces and little sister in a freezer, closed it, and sat on it. How demeaning is that? Who would do that to a bunch of kids? Even if that person is a kid themselves. So I don't believe that legacy. But they spread it. They spread it to their kids spread it to their kids, and sometimes they come over, they say, that's Uncle Emmet. Oh yeah, Uncle Emmet put me in the freezer. Why are you telling them kids that? I didn't put you in the freezer. The way I remember it, you clammed in there. And the door shut on you. And I was trying to get it open. And I spent so much time trying to get it open that I got very tired. So I sat on the freezer. So I don't know where y'all get that other idea from that I put y'all in the freezer and sat on it. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Childhood legacies. To leave a legacy, consider the following ideas. Speak your truth and value what matters. Don't lie about something that you didn't do and then it comes back on you. If you played a sport and you was good at it, say you played and you was good at it. Don't exceed beyond that and said I played in the NBA and and I played for 4 years, and then I hurt my ankle and my legs and a tendon Achilles and a tendon injury, and I didn't succeed. And then they go looking for your name, they don't find it. Yeah, you played the sport, but tell them to what extent did you play? Yeah, I played high school basketball, then I stopped. I played intramurals. I played college basketball, I stopped. I played intramurals. But I played ball in the military. People don't understand that the sports in the military is on the college level. That's why you have a lot of kids leave the military and then go play in college, because the competition is so good. And for the ones that don't know, I know I'm talking about basketball. The greatest talent in the world for basketball back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s wasn't in the college universities. It was at Rucker Park in New York. It was at the parks in Chicago. It wasn't in the university. You'd catch them cats come from university to go to Rucker Park, try to play out in the park, and try to play in the parks in Chicago, play out in the park in Philadelphia. They used to get ate up to the point they got to the point they didn't want to come. Only one person I know, really know, that went into Rucker Park area and showed out. And that was the great Kobe Bryant. I mean, he showed out. I think Kevin Garnett could have done it as well. Why do I say that? Because them guys didn't go to college. They went to high school, then went to the pros, so they had that mentality. Trace McGrady too. They had the mentality of playing in that magnitude. You go to college, you get a little bit sedity. You get a little bit high on yourself. I went to Duke University. I went to North Carolina University. I went to UCLA. And then you go to Rucker Park, get ate up. And then you don't go back anymore. So legacy. Make sure the legacy is truthful. Act to support what you believe in. Whatever you believe in, build up on it. Don't believe in something and then you say, okay, nobody else believe in that, or nobody going to look at that, or nobody focus on that, and then you just leave it alone. Well, you don't know. You might skip a generation, then a generation will come along where you might have a relative doing what you did, but don't want to go further because they feel they don't know how. Because you did it, you left a legacy in it, and you wrote it down, and it documented, and it written, then now that person that skipped a generation could see that and go from there. Remember, there's always going to be someone else that comes along, not directly along. It might be 3 generations. It might be 4 generations that someone pick up on that. Offer the perfect opportunity to focus on building a legacy that reflects your unique journey. To leave a legacy, consider the following ideas, like I just said. Speak your truth and value that matters. Act to support what you believe in. Share your good fortune and be a mentor. Be a mentor. Train to develop others. I love the fact that you have the athletes come back to the community and they give to the kids. They have these little gatherings and these little camps and things of that nature. But who are you training? Who are you developing? You out there with the kids, you have the ball, you say, okay, do this layup, you say, okay, do this, do that. That ain't the way you got developed. That's not the way you got trained. It was a mentor that took you aside. Okay, work on dribbling drills. A mentor took you aside. Okay, work on shooting drills. What happened to those camps? You had the old athletes having those camps. The Mark Aguirre, the Isaiah Thomas, and I never heard of Jordan having a camp that did things like that. But the ones that came from the city of Chicago, I think the people that came from New York did the same thing. Had the basic skills camps. Not that I'm just going to show up and throw the ball up in the air and you guys play, and then I'll probably play around with you. No, you held those camps. I mean, if you in New York, you saw Steph Marbury dribbling the ball and you saw the way he was dribbling, you went to a camp, Steph Marbury was dribbling at that camp. And he was showing you how to dribble. But they got away from that. They're not really doing too much of that right now. Where does it happen to the mentor part of the sharing information? We need to get back to that. Because these kids are so talented now in every sport. In every sport. They can give back by actually giving back. If you got to have smaller camps, have smaller camps. Open up your time more. Instead of having one big camp with 100 and 200 kids, you can have 10 camps with 30, 40, 50 kids. And believe you and I, they're going to get more out of that camp in those numbers because you're going to do a little bit more personal one-on-ones than them big old camps. Because just to say, hey, I gave to society, I'm going to go ahead and write that off on a tax return, and boom. Or I donate $2,000. I donate $2 million to that community center. Show up, say hi, how you doing, then leave. It's great that you donate to that community center. It's great that you're involved in that magnitude. But these inner city kids need that one-on-one again. Or else they're going to get that one-on-one for someone else. And it won't be positive legacy that they leave. It'll be a little negative legacy that they leave. Give the gift of your time and share your family's history. Share your family history, even if they don't want to hear it. I started writing text messages to my grandkids, my granddaughter Ariana and my grandson Emmett III. I haven't done it with my other grandkids, by my daughter Chantel, because it's 9 kids. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. So I started doing that. And I noticed that the kids this age don't want to hear it when you send it in the text. I'm like, wow, you know how much I've done? I even talked about the communication relationship that I have with my mom. Their grandmother, their great-grandmother, their grandmother, great-grandmother, their great-grandmother, come grandpa. And they act like they weren't too in tune. I said, what did I say? They told me what I said, but they ain't seem too enthused about it. You know, back in the days when they're talking about it and you all into it, like, yeah, tell me more. I was like, these little sucker ain't listening to me. So I stopped doing that. I said, I'm just going to go ahead and write the diary. And then when they get the chance to get to it at a certain age, when the interest is there, I just hand them the diary. Or through my legacy, or after my death, if they still don't get it, then I'm sure my kids will have the diary or the journal and just give it to them so they can see it. But I'm not going to stop creating a legacy. Why did I say that? Because your legacy doesn't stop. I am 60 years old. I'll be 61 this year. And as a 60-year-old, I'm back in college. My memory is not as good as it was back then. Back then, I had photographic memory. I didn't do too much with it, but I had it. I don't forget anything. I still got a little bit of that. Don't forget it, but I didn't. The basic concept I put into perspective in college. I did well in college to the point that I wanted to continue on and get the doctorate degree. But now I'm a little bit step behind these young kids. And it takes me a while to do research. The way they do papers and research now, they go to something and it generates all that. Well, I'm old school. I got to go through all this research, these books and everything else, and then come up with the paper. But to have the patience to do it at this age is a heck of a legacy. So they can go back and say, my grandpa or my brother, he worked on a second doctorate degree when he was 60. After he retired, he had already retired from supply chain management about 35 years. Then he went into a different career and went to school for it. Will I have this degree to work or to share or to help other people for the next 20 years? Probably not. Not at 60, I know I won't. But I know I can do it in the interim, and it's something I wanted to do. I'm not ready to file for unemployment. I'm not ready to hang out on the golf course. I feel I got more I can give to people as a behavioral therapist because it's something I wanted to do. But because of circumstances and things that happened, I stayed in the same profession I was in for 35 years. So the legacy doesn't stop. You keep living that legacy. The things you do can turn out to be a very special thing later on in life that you didn't take too much value in, that you did. Obstacles to leaving a legacy include lack of awareness. In today's present-minded society, there is often little understanding of what has come before. A lot of kids don't know what's going on with their ancestors. They still looking at stuff in history books. They're still going back, as far as African American go, slavery. They're still going back to what the Aztecs, Indians did. And they saying, that's way back then. How did it affect me? Because they're not getting information from the generation before that, and generations before that, which does affect them because we're not sharing that information. You have certain people who share it. Yeah, back in the days, and we didn't have TV, so we reading books. We didn't have TV and cell phones, so we used to get on a bike or skate from sun up to sundown. And our parents didn't come looking for us. They didn't ask where we were. They know we was coming back home. If we had a cell phone, they would have called, but we didn't have one. And the people weren't around at that time. So society was different. They trust you differently. They trust the kids differently back then. It's different now. So how far back can the kids go to see how things was with the next generation? If we don't leave anything for them, they can't. So they got to create their own legacy. And they don't have a clue. So if you're going back, way back to slavery and to when Latin America first was created and to the Moors in Europe, that's too far back for them. Go back to the 90s, say hip hop, this when hip hop first began, rap started off and all that. Then they can relate to that. Even go to the 60s, say something that happened in the 60s, they can relate to that. Because those generations is not that far away from them. A lot of kids now, they're not doing their research. And a lot of the kids now is not going way back there. They said that the kids now saying that didn't affect me. When we know that it does, it did affect them. Because they are where they are in society because of the things that other people went through back in history. And it's sad that a lot of the history is being forgotten and the younger generation is not fighting to keep it. Because we have an individual trying to get rid of a lot of African-American history. And an African-American not out there saying, hey, this is our history, we want to keep it. No, you don't have a lot of that out there. Trying to wipe out the black and brown community, Hispanics too, the history that you have. You got leaders doing that throughout the world. But they're not really fighting. This generation not even coming out there fighting, saying, hey, we need to keep our tradition. We need to keep our history. And the individual my age, we going to only do so much. Hell, we out there for 2 hours, we tired. The marching is done. We tired. Our legs hurt. We're thirsty. We're hungry. We give it a shot, but we don't have the energy and the drive that the younger society does. Some places they go out and they picket, not picket, but they go out and they do the rallies and things like that. But it doesn't sustain. And it's only pockets done. It's not generated or done as a unit throughout the nation. So it falls down. It's active for a while, then it falls down. And then the individuals who are trying to stop it, they don't stop. They let it die down because they know it's going to die down. Then bring it back up again. Let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. And that's throughout the world. Leaving a legacy in Europe can mean making a contribution to future generations through donations to nonprofits. It can refer to the historical and cultural legacy of ancient kingdoms in Eastern Europe. That's right. I'm stating leaving there's different types of legacies that can be left in different nations, different countries, different parts of the continent. And I'm just going to give you a few. Europe was one. Leaving a legacy in Asia can be done through various means. Gifts in your will to organizations like Animals Asia can help animals in need. Protecting and respecting the environment like the Dragon King in Bhutan. Supporting cultural heritage. Constituents like the National Gallery of Singapore. Continuing your passion and skills gained from experience abroad. Leaving a legacy in India can be done through various mechanicals, such as donating stock to charity, setting up a charitable trust, or including charitable bequests in your will. Examples of leaving a legacy include Dora's ministry in India and Ratan Tata's contributions to society through the Tata Group. Supporting conservation projects in India is also a way to leave a legacy. Leaving a legacy in the Middle East can be done through gift giving in your will. It can make a lasting difference to people across the region. Leaving a legacy in the islands can be done through sustainable practices, cultural exchange, and stewardship of the land. Leaving a legacy in Latin America can refer to a Latin American's historical trajectory, which has been shaped by its colonial past leaving a legacy that affects its political structure, economic systems, and social hierarchies. Legacy. I want you guys to really think about that. What type of legacy are you leaving? Whether it be on the job, whether it be in home, whether it be among friends, extended family. What type of legacy are you leaving? How do you want to be remembered? And for what do you want to be remembered for? No, you won't be around to find it. You won't be around to hear it. You won't be around to see reactions. No. The legacy that you leave, even though you're leaving the legacy, it's not for you. It's for another. It's for your kids, your kids' kids, your kids' kids' kids, your extended family, their kids, their kids, their kids. So it's not for you. Yeah, you're doing it. And you're going to be seen for what you did and what you're doing on this earth while you're walking. But that legacy is going to be beyond this earth. That means it's not for you. It's for another. It might not be family that take that legacy and run with it. Maybe someone who don't even know your family or you, but was admired about what you've done and how you did it. Legacy. Well, you like that moment, don't you? Just that little pause, void, that little seriousness. So I thank you. Subscribe to me. Until we meet again, God bless you and goodbye.